protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So this is a really great agreement with coming into terms and recognizing how we must share this land and be stewards for it. So I wanted to share a little bit about myself. So I actually come from a social work background from McMaster University, and I have a graduate certificate in research analysis from Humber College. And through my time with Humber College, I've also picked up and learned about data visualization. And I've been able to transfer some of that to my work with creating webinars, or sorry, creating infographics and and uh, and also dashboards, and yeah, just different visuals that help users uh, retain and pick up different statistics about what's going on in in Canada's housing landscape. And I also work for the Canadian Evidence Housing Collaborative. And at CHEC, our mission is to accelerate evidence-based solutions that advance Canada's national housing strategy to ensure every Canadian has housing that meets their needs and that they can afford. And at CHEC, we really place emphasis on building capacity in the housing sector, and I think uh, this webinar is another opportunity for that. It's not going to be totally comprehensive, just because there's so much to Mailchimp and so many features involved. Um, but it will give you a good overview on how to create an email, how to understand your email metrics, and also how to test for best engagement. So, what is Mailchimp? Mailchimp is basically an all-in-one email marketing platform that helps individuals, businesses, and organizations engage with their audience. And it also includes automation features. So for example, you can set up anything from sending, a new subscriber a welcome email, to SMS marketing, and there's just a lot of different ways that you can connect through with your audience. And it's not only just email marketing, but um, yeah, all of these different features. So why do we use Mailchimp? First of all, it's one of the easiest email web builders that are out there because it allows you to create customized emails where you don't have to have knowledge, say, in HTML or other coding languages. It's very much from the front end, and it's it becomes as easy as dragging content blocks into your email and then uploading content, which I'll show you later. And it's great because MailChimp has layouts already made available to you, so you don't have to start from scratch and put in all that time and effort. And it also has tools that help you perform well. So unfortunately, not for the basic plan, which is free, but on any of the paid subscription plans, uh, you can use A/B testing or multivariate testing if you have the higher plans, such as standard and premium, to understand what strategies best resonate with your audience. And I just wanted to know, because I just want to know really who's here and what your experience with MailChimp is. Lindsay, who's our moderator, who's the coordinator of the McMaster Institute for Health Equity, is helping me moderate this webinar. And she's going to bring up the first two polls that you can answer. And the first poll is asking what you intend to use MailChimp for. You can just go ahead and respond.
Oh, can you see the polls, everyone?
Okay, perfect. We're getting some responses. So I'm seeing that a lot of you want to keep your audience up to date on your organization's activities, uh, which is great. We do a lot of that at CHEC too. But I'm also seeing selling products, mobilizing groups of people for causes. But I also see other. I wonder if anyone in the chat would like to say what other uses you have for Mailchimp.
Oh, sorry, I should I'll let people did you want them in the chat or do you want them to unmute themselves, Kim?
Um, if someone would like to either or,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
anyone has a response, they can unmute themselves. But if someone would like to just respond in chat, that's good as well. And if there's no answers at this time, that's also okay. Okay, yeah, I can move on to the next slide, but if anyone has any thoughts on that, feel free to drop it in the chat. So I would like to just introduce some the subscription plans to you. So with Mailchimp, you're able to have a free plan, so you can easily create email campaigns and learn more about your customers. Um, but with the higher plans, you do get more features such as scheduling. So you can, with the Essentials plan, you can schedule your email to send out at a specific time. If you have a time in mind that you know is leads to higher engagement. Um, and for standard, you have more of the personalization and optimization tools, and it also comes with some AI tools that can help you optimize your engagement as well, such as your subject lines. It can help you create those. And premium, so that is the highest plan. And it includes dedicated onboarding, unlimited contacts, and priority support built for teams. So I'm going to just show you the pricing plans page. I'm not going to go over all the features because there's so many, but we can go over just we can have a wide overview of what the plans look like. Okay, so here you can see the plans more in detail. And just always make sure if you're looking at a MailChimp plan to select a CAD. And one thing you'll notice about the prices is that they are dependent on how many contacts you have or you think you will have. So 500, you see the plans they start essential starts at 1787 Canadian and then 2749. But then if you move it up say to 1500, um you no longer qualify for a free plan, and then your essentials plan would uh, be increased. And it's just one thing to know about is that overages can apply if email send limits are exceeded. But yeah, I just wanted to scroll down and show you quickly what you will see in the free plan. So you have 1,000 monthly email sends, and that refers to how many people you can send to. Um, and you can also assign one user to be on your Mailchimp platform and to make those emails. And you have one set of audience, so that is the group that you're sending these emails to, and along with email support for the first 30 days. Um, and then you see it with the essential plans, you get 5,000 email sends, up to 4 journey points. So that's a way of that's a automation tool that you can use. Often it's used if you want to send a welcome email, for example, to someone when they sign up to your email, and then you get more users on board. And you can see that too with the higher plans. It's just you have more users on board, you have more audiences that you can create, and you have higher journey points. So that's more um, autom- automation paths that you can select. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my slide. So I wanted to start us off first is that any email campaign, obviously you need an audience to send your email to. So I wanted to go over that with you and show you on the Mailchimp platform how to do that. Okay. Okay. So we are entering the homepage for Mailchimp. And an easy way to find the homepage is to go to the monkey at the top. And here you can see your email performance just right on the homepage for you in your recent campaigns. Um, but if you want to get started with creating an audience, what you would want to do is you would want to go to the audience dashboard. So you can find that on the left side of your screen. So it's audience and then audience dashboard. And you would want to go to manage audience. And with manage audience, you would want to, if you're starting off from the very beginning, it would be create audiences for you. But right now, since I'm using Check's account, it's view audiences. So if you want to create an audience, go to create audience at the top of the screen. And because I've already created an audience, it's triggering me to instead apply tags, but let's do create audience instead. So for this, we can just get started with naming our audience. So I'm just going to name us Check Webinar. And default from email address, that is how people will view your emails when they come into your inbox. So that is the person that that's their email is going to show up when you send out emails. We can put my name. And because I have a paid plan, it would automatically generate the URL for each campaign that I complete. So here you want to, because at the end of every email, it's just letting your audience know, just a short reminder about how they came to join your audience. So, one example is that you can say, you are receiving this email because you opted in at our website. So that's just reminding them because, people get a lot of emails. So it's nice to have a little bit of a reminder about how they came to join you. And they ask typically for an organization or an address. And, perhaps if you don't have an organization, you can just use your name and your address. And there's different settings. So daily summary for notifications, that's just going to notify you of who subscribes and unsubscribes. Um, Instead of doing it one by one and then you get all these notifications. And then for form settings, I'm going to select enable double opt-in. So that's going to send contacts uh, an opt-in confirmation email when they subscribe to your audience. Actually, I think in this case, I'm not going to, because if they already signed up for the um, our sign up form, which I'll talk about later, then they've already confirmed. So once this is all complete, you're going to press save. So now we have our audience made, but as you can notice, there's no contacts, and that is also something we need. We need email addresses. So in this case, what we're going to do is we are going to go to add contacts. And there's two options. Either you can import your contacts or you can add in a single contact. Importing contacts is the best thing to do at the early stage. It's just easier if you already have a list of people to import your contacts all in one batch rather than to just add a single contact. The single contact is more so in the case if you say, if you meet someone at a conference or someone emails you and says, hey, I can't figure out for some reason how to sign up for your newsletter, then that is something you can select. But for now, we're going to go to import contacts. And there are some options for how you would like to add contacts. So either you can import them from another service, or you can upload a file. So that is typically an Excel file, or a text file ending in CSV or text. Or if it's easier, you can just copy and paste in new contacts from a spreadsheet or similar list. For this, I tend to go with uploading a file, but Uh, either three of these are good options, depending on where your contacts are coming from. So I'm going to go to upload a file and I'm going to say browse. And I'm going to select Mailchimp contacts. So that is an Excel sheet or worksheet that a workbook that I've already created. So it is in CSV format. And I'm just going to show you how I set up this worksheet. So with Mailchimp, and I know this is a lot of information coming at once, but with Mailchimp, they like you to set up columns. And these columns are of fields that you are going to fill out under. So if you see these columns, their email address, first name, last name, I just for, the purpose of this webinar, I just added in all of my email addresses and just variations of my name. Um, you want to put that under your columns in Excel. And this is just going to help Mailchimp recognize um, what fields you want to appear uh, above your contacts when they're imported. But you can also add, for example, phone number, and that should pick up too. But let's just, for now, let's just do email address, first name, last name. And it's going to ask you what audience you want to add to. So for this, I'm going to say check webinar. That's the one that we just that I just made with you. And if you're re-uploading contacts, uh, it can say update any existing contacts that are already in the sheet that you just uploaded. But for now, I'm just gonna go to continue. So this part is just gonna ask you for tags if you want to tag your contacts. Let's just for now uh, tag them as customer. And here is a useful screen. You want to make sure that your information is under the right column. So you have the emails are under email address, but you can edit that here. Say if the system didn't pick it up in your worksheet, first name, that's great, and then last name. And then you can go to continue to subscribe. And then finalize your import. So now it should be all done, and you should have this import already completed. So that's how we go about adding our audience. So now I'm going to move on to so we already added contacts. Now I'm going to move on to designing an email. And we're already set up well to do this. So I'm going to go back to Mailchimp. And we can say exit from here. And so to start an email, what you would like to do is, if it's easier for you, you can go back to home. So that's where the monkey is. And you can go to create. So that is in the upper left corner. And for the purpose of this webinar, I'm going to say a regular email that we're going to design because these two are not exactly, they're automations or they're landing pages. So let's just focus on a regular email. And then you're going to click on design email. So you see it's pretty blank right now. And I think it usually, when you're first starting out, it will show you different templates. So let's go back and see if I can grab those. Okay, so again, we're on the entitled screen. Um, right, so actually, in order to get the templates, you would want to go to design email, And I know there's other steps before this, but in order to, have a understanding of the to field and the from field and subject send time, let's go to content and design email. So there are different ways of how you can select a template. Because you're just starting out, and if you are, um, you want to go to layouts because that will have different email templates available for you that are blank. So even in the basic plan on Mailchimp, you should have access to the a few featured email templates, and then also some basic email templates as well that are just not so much branded as anything. So how about we do one column for now? So if we want to select it, just press on the icon. And now that we selected the template, it's going to come up for us. And I'm just going to show you some ways of how you can start building your email. So what you're looking to do is you're looking to add content blocks from the right side of your screen. And you can see here how there's different options. So there's text. We already have some text here already, given that it was already included in the layout. We can add in an image. We can add in image and text. So how about for this? I'm going to add in an image. And I'm going to go ahead and upload it. I'm drawing inspiration now on a webinar that we did for our launch of our rental affordable housing tool. So just to back up here, if you want to upload an image, you have to go to browse, or you can drop an image if that's easier from you. You would have to drop it from your file explorer, but I think browse is pretty easy. Uh, and then it goes to the content studio. So you see here, because CHEC has already created so many newsletters, we have so many images that have already been uploaded. But to upload a new image that hasn't been uploaded before, hasn't been used in any newsletter, uh, we want to say upload. So I'm going to select the image for the webinar. And now we are going to add in some text. And I'm going to be going over some tips about how to make an engaging email and how to write the text for that. But for now, um, you can see that I've copied and pasted into the text field. But now, since the text is pretty big, uh, what you want to do is, if you want to edit any content box, you would want to go to edit block. So that is the pencil that you hover over when you see this black border at the top of your content block. And then you want to select all the text. And um, now that you're under the content setting of your text box, you would like to change your font to whatever suits you, whatever you think is best for your readers. But now, since you've noticed that first of all, we need to link this link. So it's a lot. Some of these icons may be familiar to you, uh, either if you've used Word document before. But we want to go to insert link and we want to say link to web address. So now it's linked, but now you notice that uh, the text is still very widespread apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to style and make sure that you apply the same font and size that you did already in the content section right here. And then you can change your line height. I like slight line height. Okay. Okay. Sorry, right now, uh, right now either it seems to be a bit frozen, but if you do want to change if you do want to change the line height of your text, this is where you would go. And you just want to make sure that you press save and close. Even though everything auto saves, it's still good to save and close just to make sure you don't get confused by um, your other the other content blocks. So now that we have a basic email, we can go to continue. And now we're going to go over the to from subject and send time fields. So first we have to choose our audience, and we want to choose CHEC Webinar for this purpose. And it's selected, you want to make sure if you don't intend on filtering out your audience with either with different tags, you want to make sure it says all subscribers in audience. And also, this is a tip to prevent your email from going into spam boxes and to make it a bit more personal. You want to personalize the send to field. In the send to field, basically, that's how you know, a user or someone in your audience, that's how their name is going to show up in the to field. So you would want to say personalize the to field. And this may be a little bit confusing at first, but uh, the merge tag. So if you want your user, for example, in this case, Bob Smith, right? If you want his first name and last name to appear in the to field in his inbox for the email that you're sending, you want to select first name and last name. Okay, great. So that's saved. And then in the from field, you want to, um, for this, it is really recommended that even if you're in an organization, to use to use the name of a person rather than your organization. And for this field, I'm going to change it to our managing director, Cynthia Belaski, because I think, you know, she's involved. She talks a lot to stakeholders and she's very present at conferences. And, you know, she's just a really friendly face that is associated with CHEC's brand. I'm sure a lot of you have received emails from her. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to write in her name, so Cynthia, and then her email address. So now getting to the subject line, I just want to switch back to my slides and because we're going to talk about how to make an effective subject line. And we'll get back to tips for writing an engaging email, but we want to talk about how to make a stellar subject line. So, first things first is less is more. So you want to use less than 9 words in your subject line for optimal performance. It's just this is just what Mailchimp has found to be the most successful um, for engagement. So yeah, just make sure your subject line is less than 9 words, and this is also in part too because um, when it arrives in your and your audience members, when it arrives in their email inbox, they may only see parts of the subject line, so it's good to keep it shorter, just depending on the email client, because it may be cut off in their email view at first when it first comes in. um, Secondly, you want to use emojis sparingly. And emojis are pretty fun to use, but it's been known to be effective just to use one emoji per subject line. And with this too, try to keep it relevant to what you're trying to get across. But also, you don't have to use it as a supplement for any words in your subject line. It can just, or sorry, you don't have to use it to replace any words in your subject line. It's used to supplement. It's used to be on theme of what your email is going to be about. But also, you want to count your characters. So it's best practice to only use 60 characters in a subject line. So that's talking about the actual letters or numbers that are in your subject line. Just trying to keep it under 60 characters. It is good with Mailchimp because I'll show you in a second. With Mailchimp, they actually count the characters for you, and you want to limit your punctuation. So that means your periods or your exclamation points. You want to avoid using more than 3. So, and also with the subject line, you want to consider too being descriptive. So, what's the call to action, and how can you communicate in that short subject line? How your audience will benefit from your either reading your email, donating to your charity, or joining your cause. So, I was thinking, if you'd like, we could do a short activity. Um, and so for this, say you or your organization is putting on an event. Write a catchy subject line in the chat box and press send. So don't forget, use no more than 9 words. Um, Only use one emoji. In the Zoom chat box, I'm not sure if there's really going to be much functionality for that, so maybe we won't use an emoji. But use a character count that's less than 60. So Lindsay has a link to the word counter, and that can help you out just with making sure that your subject line is less than 60. And avoid using 3 punctuation marks. And also have a hook. So what benefits can folks gain from attending your event? Um, and yeah, Lindsay, if you would like to drop the word counter in the chat, and
Yep,
then anyone feel free.
done.
Also, you don't yeah, and you don't feel free, it doesn't have to be an event either, you know. Um if it's something else, maybe it's a charity fund, charity drive, or you're selling a product, you can also just play around with that too. And then Lindsay, if there's any responses, you can just let me know what they say.
Okay, Bill has given us 6 housing solutions you need to know about.
That's a really good one. Yeah, thank you, Bill, for sharing. Because I think people also really resonate too with lists as well. So having that having six, having the number six too in the headline and having that almost appear like a list, but also letting the user know that, hey, this is something you would like to know, right? So yeah, that's a really good one.
And I'll add it came in at 8 words and 44 characters. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. And then Elizabeth is sharing Learn Finland's Lessons on Ending Homelessness webinar tomorrow,
Oh, that one's really good too. Yeah, because um
which is
yeah,
9 words and 61 characters.
so that's just slightly over, you know. Sometimes it's like the equivalent of like moving either trying to like shorten a word too if you can try to abbreviate it a little bit. Um but that's really good too because again, it's letting the users know, hey, there's something of benefit here. So please open the email. Yeah. Thank you, Elizabeth. Um, is there
And
any other? Yeah.
yeah, Pat has given us New Laws, BC Rental Rights and Obligations workshop.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, new laws. Yeah, me just like trying to replay I think that that one's really good too, Pat. Maybe we could maybe if we find a way to get rid of obligations in there, um and maybe say either yeah, something like new rental laws you need to know, or but I like that. That basically tells the user what is gonna be going on in that webinar. So, um, yeah. Is
And
there any? Yeah,
yeah, and Bill has given us Learn to Get Your MP's Attention Friday at 1.
yeah.
Oh, and Pat has pointed out that landlords are now screening out folks who do not reply to obligations on the application.
Oh, okay, really?
So
Yeah.
it's
So it's
something specific. Yeah.
yeah. No, that is really specific. Yeah. No, and it all comes down to what information is the most crucial, right? And sorry, what was Bill's subject line again? Just trying to
Learn to Get Your MP's Attention Friday at 1.
yeah, learn to so that's pretty well 9 characters, right?
Yeah, 9
Yeah.
words, 45 characters.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's so that kind of it's catchy enough, but it's also sort of sharing to people, hey, if you have availability on this day, um, come out. So yeah, those are some great examples.
Kim, have you found, because um I think that one was very topical. I know for me, I've always, is it is it worthwhile to put location, yeah, like the time and date in the subject line? I often do, but is there another, more impact, like any consensus on that, on whether,
Um, you know what? I don't generally I don't do that, but yeah, it really just depends what you're trying to get across. Like, for example, for this webinar, I said sign up to be a Mailchimp whiz. So I didn't exactly put in a time and date, but maybe
yeah,
if you have the space, you can. But if you don't have the space, it could be something you leave out, or maybe you just say the day of the week that's gonna happen. Yeah, it's just about cutting sometimes. Um,
I also mentioned, Kim, that I assume we might want to wait till the end, but we do have a few questions that have come through the chat.
okay, great. Yeah, we can definitely
Yeah.
do that at the end. Um, So, okay, so for example, I'm gonna name this um, learn housing affordability insights here. Maybe if we have space, we can use um, a magnifying glass. And then preview text, this is what is gonna come in right under the subject line, sorry. So sometimes what I do is I just use the first sentence of the the paragraph of the first paragraph. So check invites all to the virtual launch
So
event.
we are looking at your slide right now. Are you trying to show your screen or
Oh,
do you want us to
sorry.
look at the slide? Yeah.
No, that's good to know. Thank you. Okay. I will go back to Chrome tab and edit email. So sorry, everyone. What I was doing was I was just writing the subject line. And right now I'm just typing in the preview text. So that's the line that some of the words are going to show up to under the subject line for your users. Estimator. So I just said, CHEC invites all to the virtual launch of its affordable rental housing estimator. So as well, if you would like to, well, now you have to select a send time. If this feature, this schedule a time, it is only available if you have a paid plan, but you, if you do have a paid plan, right now I'm on the Essentials plan, either if you have a standard plan, you can do the best send time for maximum engagement when scheduling at least 2 days in advance. But right now, I'm gonna do, because I have the Essentials plan, I'm gonna do select a specific time on a specific day. So let's say tomorrow, right at 3:15, and the time zone is gonna reflect what you know, your address that you've put in at the very beginning. Okay, so either, you know, it's send time and then you can schedule it, and so scheduling is at the top and you would say confirm scheduling email, and now, you know, nice job, your email is scheduled. I just want to go back to campaigns on the left side because I want to show you how you can pause it if you want to work on the email. So you always have to pause if you need to make any adjustments. Um, but then if you only have a free plan, what you can do is you can say send now, and that means that your email is sent whenever you send out send right here at the left top corner. Um, yeah, there's also some other features too. So for example, you can either share as an email link. So this will, after your email has been sent out, you will have this email link available to you. But you can also add a social post to your email. So when your email gets sent out, an automatic social post will be made, and you just have to save the message. So you can do that. And yeah, because, you know, just trying to make sure I cover everything. Um, Another thing you can do is, well, this is very important, actually, is you want to make a sign up form. So say, you know, you go back to home and again, you can see your email performance. Um, and I'll talk about open and click rate in a second. You want to go to audience, sign up forms, and there's different types of forms. If you have a free account, probably do form builder because that will be available to you. And this is basically what you can link on your social media, or on, say, your website, um, to get people to sign up to your newsletter. So you see here, there's a lot of forms. You want to make sure it's on sign up form at the top. And then if you would like, on the left-hand side, you can add in different fields. So for example, there's email address, first name, last name, address, phone number. But then you can also design it. So you can change the background color. And then when you're done with this, you can use the sign up form URL to post on social media and to get people to sign up for your newsletter. And then they'll see exactly this, but something that's more interesting. Um, and I would just like to also go to audience dashboard. So I know we're going all over the place, but basically, if you want to see your email metrics, you want to go to audience dashboard, and it will tell you the amount of new contacts, um, uh, your import, so everyone that's been imported. Um, it will also tell you your engagement, so how many people often or sometimes or rarely open your emails. But it can also tell you the top locations of where people are looking. So yeah, that's a lot. But anything to do with your audience, basically go to audience, the drop down menu, and then go to audience dashboard to see your metrics and to really understand that better. But I just also want to touch on quickly, going back to my presentation, I also want to help everyone understand what an open rate is. Um, Maybe we won't get to A/B testing, but that basically is uh, A/B testing is if you have a paid plan, you can send out variations of an email plan to see which one performs better. And um, basically, what you do, you would want to go back up to create on Mailchimp. So that's in the left-hand corner. And then you would click on email, and then you would select A/B testing. And I can send this PowerPoint to everyone. Uh, and then these are the variables you can test, either subject line. So you can test out various subject lines. You can test out various from fields like, email addresses. You can test out the content, so that's the email template. And you can even test out the send time, and you can see up to 3 combinations per variable and see, which one is more successful. But and then you can decide based on your winning variation, either by open rate. So that's the percentage that tells you how many successfully delivered campaigns, so emails, were opened by subscribers. But it's important to know that the open rate is not unique um, actual subscribers who view your campaign. So it's actually so unique, meaning that it's, for example, if you have 100 subscribers, that doesn't mean that 50 people actually opened um, your email. It might mean that, maybe 30 people opened your email multiple times, right? And the same thing goes to click rate. So that's a percentage that tells you how many successfully delivered campaigns registered at least one click. But you can also, well, revenue as well. You can see who wins by revenue, but you can also view the report after tests are sent. So um, in the report section under audience and audience dashboard, and choose a winner yourself. So that's a lot of information, but again, I'll send these slides, for it to be helpful to you. And then these are just the other metrics we already went over. And then basically what I wanted to say before, and I'm sorry for going over time, but tips for writing an engaging email. You basically want your call to action at the beginning and at the end of the email. So that is what you want your users to do. If you want your users to sign up for a webinar, you say, hey, learn how to use, learn how to become a Mailchimp whiz or learn how to transform your emails. Um, but also you want to make sure you're using plain language. So that is language that a large population would understand and use. So not super technical or jargon, and less words as possible. You want to add images, include headlines, because that will, for people who like to skim emails, that is very helpful for knowing which sections they want to be interested in looking at. And you want to provide your audience with, again, reasons why they should engage with your content. Okay, that's a lot, but that is the end of my presentation. There's a lot we covered there, so if I know we're coming to the end, but if anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to stay on for, another 5 minutes to answer them.
Yeah, Pat, have 1 second. I'm going to let people unmute themselves if they want to speak up. Um, okay, but yes, Pat had some questions. Pat, if you can stick around, I will start reading them. I'll go back to the top. So Pat's first question is she was wondering if it was for a seniors group, should they find a younger person to be our tech manager with this system, and any suggestions on how to find them? And I think she had a related question is, why did you choose this system? How does it compare to like Constant Contact and some of the other software system email subscription services?
For sure, those are some great questions, Pat. In terms of finding someone, someone of a different age, I think there are groups. I know there are technology groups that can help people out and pair them with people, either using some type of software that they can be a buddy to. I know that does take some digging, but yeah, but I think there's, also looking at Facebook groups, right? That might be a place of assistance too. Because I know, for example, I'm in a Canva Facebook group. If you've ever used Canva, and that's useful to me as well. Gaining tips from other people. And to answer your question, we decided to use Mailchimp because there's a wide range of different templates that you can use. Because there's other websites are other platforms that we've used before that have cost less, but they don't really have the same amount of templates and the amount of creativity that you're able to do, or uh, the content that you're able to manipulate, right, and move around and make it look different. Like for example, with our checklist, I enjoy moving around the blocks and designing the email in a way that I think is interesting to look at. So I think that's what Mailchimp provides, is really the interesting templates, but also learning how to understand your audience too.
Okay, and another question is, how secure are email addresses when they're in Mailchimp? It is a large multinational. Will the contacts get hacked or get unsolicited materials or other glitches?
It would be pretty secure. Um like for the hacking, I don't think Mailchimp would be any different than any other like big platform like this, uh and having a lack of safeguards. I would say it's pretty secure. Um, for example, other audience members, wouldn't have any access to your email addresses at all. So you will only see the emails going to you. You won't see any other email addresses available, for example, in the to field. Um, so yeah, it's really secure, and there's a lot of measures in place to let users know. Like whenever you sign up a user individually, uh, there's a box that basically says, "Hey, have you reached out to this member and made sure that they know that you're adding them to the list?" Um, so you would have to select that if you want to add a single subscriber. Um, yeah, it is a very secure platform. I don't think there's any worries about uh, hacking of that sort.
And I think the last one that we've come to, maybe a bit more of an observation, but that some of the emails have embedded text, photos, and posters so that you can't print them well. It can put the title on one page and other content on subsequent pages. Replaying these to others, sometimes the embedded stuff arrives as a box with an X in it. There doesn't seem to be a
Mm.
way to just to capture the text content, like the what, when, where, how.
Oh, so are you talking about like printing on paper, or I wonder, because printing on paper, if that is what you're talking about, or if you want to convert your PDF, yeah, that is challenging. But one way that we've gotten around that with Check is um, after your email is sent out, on the campaigns page, when you go to that email, uh, if you have a paid plan, there will have, but even if you don't, there will just be an automatically generated URL if you don't have a paid plan. But if you have a paid plan, it would be under a certain domain. And that is useful. Say if you want to copy and paste that on your website as a link, because it will show up in your browser. Um, as it would basically show up as the email appears, but it will show up more like a web page. If you say link it as a website on your website, or if you even link it on social media like X or Facebook, if you just link directly to that URL that they give you.
So
Um,
Kimberly, I'm Pat.
yeah,
Hello.
yeah, hi, Pat.
So I work with semi-amo seniors, and some of the younger seniors are tech savvy, but 70 and over, especially my 80 and 90-year olds, they got the
Yeah.
grandson's computer and they know how to F this, and it'll print the email that they got to read, because they can't with their trifocals read on the screen, and they don't have a cell phone or an app. And so then if they're going to share in their building and stick the notice up in the laundry room so other people can come to the session, it's young people are designing things for young people, but they need to also consider ways for us elders to work, but also a lot of newcomers. So we have a lot of newcomers that learn something different in Africa or Latin America. And so the system up here, yeah, they get an email. So I always try to put in the who, what, when, where, why, just text at the head, and then the pretty poster. But the pretty poster, you have to open the PDF and then use the PDF thing so it gets a little, so people get frustrated and they stop. So we found that if you have more than 3 challenges, they tune out and delete. So just so
Mhm.
you know, for this target audience, this is my challenge, because
Yeah.
it's very hard to get into condos and apartment buildings to share opportunities for learning for people to help themselves. So I'm going to a national conference on this at the end of the month on community-based groups, and
Great.
housing is really, of course, a really big thing. But then helping people to get educated to know their rights and all that kind of stuff. We do the outreach, but it's getting to them. And if they have grandson's computer and they only know email, yeah, we can't go fancy. So
Yeah,
that's my experience. Just giving you a heads up on that one.
for sure. No, I definitely understand, like, for that population, just, because you there wasn't you didn't grow up with Mailchimp, right? Or I mean, I didn't even grow up, but like, I learned it early on, and that's the frustrating part, and I totally see that. And I think maybe there is some good points, that with Mailchimp, it may not be uh as accessible for every user, and it may be that yeah, it's going back to other programs such as Microsoft Word, which I know is, you know, can be a
Yeah,
little tricky too.
yeah.
Um,
But the
and no,
basic
that's
Word
yeah,
document, so what we have found is if you have a Word document and you write your words and thinking instead of doing it on MailChimp or Constant Contact, if for any reason the power goes out, you've lost your document. But if I do it in
yeah,
Word, it saves the draft and I can then continue working. So I can copy and paste the text as needed, as opposed to
yeah,
composing in that kind of software.
for sure. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like it is good with Mailchimp. There is autosave, but for Microsoft Word, typically they have the recovery feature if, if like the power goes off, and that will come up when
Yeah,
when you click on Microsoft, when you click on the Microsoft Word icon.
yeah.
And yeah, I
And
can
it keeps
imagine how
changing.
frustrating.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. You've done a fine job. I'm grounded on MailChimp now compared to the other ones.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
but I understand. Oh, that's
And it is,
like
I think, accessible communications, like that's almost its own art and science on its own too, that you could to get that level of mastery. It sounds like you've gotten a lot of it sort of, grassroots mastery just
Yeah.
through, experience
So
with your,
yeah.
the BC Seniors Advocate, they now have a listen to feature on
oh,
their
Mm,
great.
emails, which is also useful.
Oh,
Anyway, that's my
that's
demographic I
thank you.
work with.
No,
yeah, no,
thank
I
you for
totally
giving
get
us some
that.
food. Yeah, some food for thought on making communications more accessible.
And I
Yep.
wish I could have went into more about alt text and other things for screen readers for describing images, but I know at the same time, like there may be a barrier to for certain people for being able to
Yeah.
um easily get to writing alt text
Yeah.
for an image.
I will email you. Stephanie Cadu is Canada's National Disabilities and Accessibility person, and
Yeah,
they have tips and tools for reaching people. So whether it's a developmentally delayed person, a person with Alzheimer's, person in a wheelchair, a deaf person. So she's got some really good tips that may be useful for you to be aware of. So communication is changing for everybody every day.
yeah,
Absolutely.
no, that's great, and I would be
Yeah.
happy to receive any resources on that. Like, I'm always willing to learn. Like, there's so much to learn about accessibility and design, so I would love that. Um, yeah, if you have my email, it's just right here. I can also send it in the chat if that
Yeah,
helps.
I got it. I got it. Okay, will do.
Oh,
I have to
great.
go.
Okay.
Thanks for
Okay,
your comments, Pat.
bye. Thank you.
No, thanks
Okay,
very much, Bill and Pat, for your
Thanks.
bye-bye.
participation. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for the
Bill.
event.
Bye.
Bye.